All right, everybody, Greg Poole here at Bowjunky Media with the 2017 OPA event in Pennsylvania. Event's hosted by Levi and Samantha Morgan. This weekend's coverage is brought to you by Carbon Express Arrows. I'm joined by good friend Darren Christianberry. It's go time.
It is. These guys threw down some ridiculous scores. I know our courses were a little bit softer, I think, on average from last year, but still 52 up leading, and Chris and Jesse tied for that, and then 449 is in fifth place. There's 3 points between first and fifth with, I mean, some of the best shooters in the world.
Absolutely. So we got Jesse Broadwater and Chris Perkins. You might have heard of them before, both at 452s. We got Tim the Hammer Gillingham at a 451. Everybody will be watching him. We got Mikey Slosher at a 450, and then we got Dan McCarthy at a 449. A little bit of an equipment change for Dan.
Yeah, he shot a 23 diameter shaft, PS23, today and yesterday for his 40 target qualification round, but now he's shooting the bow that he shot last weekend at the IBO, which he said was his OPA setup, which is I don't know which arrow it is, but it's a standard diameter like hunting shaft for a smaller diameter for the wind. I'm assuming is why he switched.
Absolutely. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Today on the range, actually, Chris Perkins had to call equipment failure. He had a loop that was fraying that he didn't trust, and so he actually had to walk off the course and go change out a loop. Obviously, it worked out.
I wouldn't want that weighing on my mind. Oh my gosh, is my loop going to break? How many more arrows is it going to go? So he just went and fixed it and came back in and did his thing.
Now, I'm suspecting here with these guys all being this close, we'll see some 10s, but we're going to see some rings.
I would think so. You know, with Mikey Slosser, he can shoot in the wind, and Gillingham. If anybody deserves to win this, it's Tim Gillingham, because I guarantee you no one has outworked him in preparation for this tournament. I guarantee you no one's practiced more.
No one's been talking about this style of event for longer either.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like literally from 17 years ago when I met him, this is what Tim's been talking about. Now he's starting off. Interesting point here. Tim is starting off on the long moose, which could make his day or end his day.
No doubt.
Because if he guns for 14 here and makes a boo-boo mentally, he'll be in a bad spot.
Tim believes no matter what distance, if he can see it, he can hit it.
Absolutely. So here we go. We'll let's see what happens here. So we got, there's the last shot right there. All right, here we go. Start with Jesse Broadwater on the stand-in grizzle with a 10
for
Jesse Broadwater. A little bit surprising there. Thought he might actually go for a 14 on that because the wind had died down.
That's the shortest target they're going to see, too.
Yes. So, all right, here we go. We're going to Chris Perkins on the bedded buck. And a 5 for Chris Perkins on the bedded buck. That's not what I was expecting. That arrow was
to know what happened
7
there.
inches. That arrow was 7 inches right.
I wonder if he misset his sight 5 yards hot or something.
Well, it was right.
Oh, was it?
Okay,
Oh,
so he might have misset his sight and shot straight above the 12.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. All right, Tim Gillingham with a 12 on the moose. Well,
guess who's leading now?
Tim Gillingham just went right ahead and filled himself with a bunch of confidence. That spells trouble for everybody else.
It does.
That's the first 12 on that target today.
I know. Look out, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the hammer.
Yeah, that's not what everybody else. That's not how everybody else wanted Tim to start. Mikey Slosher with a 10. That's kind of a surprise at that distance that Mike would shoot that particular arrow there, but it is what it is. So here we go. Danny McCarthy on the bear. They're taking a little bit of a closer look. Danny McCarthy switching bows and arrows and coming out here and starting off with a 10.
That looked closer than that.
Yes, it did. So, all right, here we go. First arrow of the men's expert, and we have a change in leaders. Tim the Hammer Gillingham with a 463, followed by Jesse Broadwater at a 462. So right off the bat, we got a change in the leaderboard heading into arrow number 2. All right, here we go, Darren. Hitting into arrow number 2 in the men's expert. On that first arrow, Chris Perkins shot a 5. Apparently, he had misset his sight.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Shot
that stinks.
several inches above the 12. So here we go. We're got some work to do here. Tim Gillingham took the lead over from Jesse Broadwater, and we're gonna have to see. It looks like Tim Gillingham threw a dump truck of onions on that one right there. So we're gonna have to
follow through had that point at some satellite.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's like you said. Everyone's going to be watching Tim Gillingham because you just never know what's going to happen. So all right.
Perkins has got something going on.
So
He's got something going on.
Here we go. Mikey Slosher
With
with a
a 12.
12.
Good
Mike
shot,
Slosher gets
Mikey.
himself a bonus ring there. Yeah, Chris Perkins looks like he's all of a sudden hitting a good 8 inches high. Weird. We're going to have to talk to him about that. So here we go.
Hammer with an 8.
Tim Gillingham with an 8 on the white ram. That's obviously what that Spanglish was about on there. So here we go. Chris Perkins on the moose. Chris Perkins with a 10, but that arrow is decent left and right, but that's a good 6 inches tall.
He's got something going on to hit that high.
Now these guys did shoot in a lot of rain today, and they've been sitting waiting for this to start. So I'm not sure what's going on. He's looking at his sight pretty intently over there. Jesse Broadwater with a 10 on the bedded buck.
That'll put Jesse at a 472, and that will put him tied with
So here we go. Dan McCarthy on the standing grizzle. The standing grizzle kind of resembles Dan if you think about it.
It does.
Short, stocky. I mean, look at it. It's got that grin on its face. The white teeth.
There's a whole bunch of orange around his arrow for a 12.
12 for Danny McCarthy. So Danny McCarthy
Holy
is
smokes.
rolling. So here we go, folks. So Jesse Broadwater and Mikey Slosher are now tied for the lead. Never seen that before.
Weird.
Tim Gillingham and Dan McCarthy tied at a 471, and Perkins with another odd arrow at a 467, heading into target number 3. All right, here we go, Darren. Arrow number 3 in the men's expert. This shoot down has got exciting right away. So here we go. We got Jesse and Mikey tied for the lead with Gillingham and Dan tied. And so Tim Gillingham does not call the 14 on one of the shortest targets out here, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
That's not what I was expecting from Tim on this target.
Tim's really aggressive, and he's very confident, so I'm surprised to see him just kind of lay up there and shoot a 12.
Absolutely. I'll tell you who looks like they're shooting strong right now is Danny McCarthy. He looks like he's full of confidence right now. So here we go. We got Mike Slosher on the grizzle with an 8. That's not what
Puts him at
he's going to look for.
480.
And Mike Slosher immediately pans to the right to check out Jesse Broadwater's arrow.
No, I'm sorry, that was Dan. That was Dan.
All right, here we go. Dan McCarthy on the bedded buck with a 10.
81 ahead of Mikey Slosser. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Jesse Broadwater on the moose, and that's a 10. 10 for Jesse Broadwater and the 80-yard moose. That's
And Jesse Broadwater with a 10 to 4.
and here we go. So this is Chris Perkins on the white goat here. Chris is obviously having some issues with something. Yeah, he shot 30 up yesterday and shot extremely well today, and a 10 for Chris Perkins. So there's obviously something going on there. So here we go into this is Tim Gillingham on the bear.
He's not going to be happy with this.
No, that arrow's. I mean, I expected him to shoot for a 14 there and an 8 for Tim Gillingham, and he just kind of brings his hand up and lets her drop back down, like takes in that big Tim Gillingham breath.
Tim's now on the shortest target.
Yes, he is. So here we go. Things are getting super exciting. Head into the 4th arrow. All right, here we go, Darren. This is the 4th arrow and the men's expert here at the OPA. This weekend's coverage brought to you by Carbon Express Arrows. Had a super exciting shoot-off so far. So Chris Perkins and Tim Gillingham calling 14s here. Chris obviously needs it. Tim had made a move right off the bat, but finds himself trailing into 4th. So Tim Gillingham with the fist pump right there. Obviously
pretty happy about that.
He seems super happy about that. So let's let everybody get down there, and we'll see what it looks like. So, all right, here we go. Chris Perkins eyeballing this arrow pretty hard. Going for a 14.
We have for Chris Perkins, we have a
and an 8 for Chris Perkins.
For a 485.
Chris.
5.
5. Correction for a 5. Chris Perkins is not happy about that at all. He snatched up his card and gave the stabilizer a poke and moved on. He's not happy about that at all. Jesse Broadwater with a 10 on the ram. This men's expert shoot down is not how I was expecting it to go.
I got my mouth hanging open.
I'm telling you, this is not what I was expecting.
Previously,
10 for Dan, is that
10,
right?
10 for Dan on the moose.
But I am about to have to pay for about 20% of it.
All right, here we go.
Jesse for 92.
Mike Slosher on the bedded buck with an 8. 8 for Mike Slosher. Tim Gillingham had the fist pump on this, so let's get out there and see. It looks like it's
Tim's trying to take the lead back.
He is
what he's doing.
So all right, Tim Gillingham with a 14 for Tim Gillingham. So obviously the fist pump was for good reason, which is going to put Tim Gillingham into the lead by 1 over Jesse Broadwater. Danny McCarthy 1 point behind Jesse. So we have 493 with Tim, 492 with Jesse, 491 with Dan McCarthy heading into the 5th arrow. All right, here we go, Darren. This is getting hot and heavy here. We're on to our 5th arrow and the men's expert. Tim Gillingham has taken the lead, which is amazing.
He made a couple mistakes, but that 14 ring put him right back in it.
Sure did. Tim's actually shooting the bedded buck right now, so we're gonna.
He doesn't look happy. I don't know what he got, but he's not happy about it.
Yeah, well, if he didn't hit it inside out, he's probably not going to be happy. But he is over there shaking his head, and he's got his jaw clenched going on.
This is far from over.
Oh, super. Oh, there's no doubt about it. That's right. Here we go. Chris Perkins, who had called for the 14, gets an 8. 14 for Chris Perkins.
The big psych on that scorecard right there.
A little bit of relief for Chris Perkins there. He's like, finally.
Yeah. No doubt.
And he actually threw a hand up in the air.
He's all dialed in now.
He's ready to roll. What? We're done? All right, here, Tim Gillingham with an 8, which is Tim puts the double teapot hands on the hips there. He's none too happy. All right, here we go. This is the Mike Slosher on the moose with a 10.
Mikey shot a 4.
So Mike shoots a 10 on the moose. So here we go. We're heading into the white ram for Dan. Dan switching to his skinny arrows for this shoot down. And Dan's going to be an 8.
This is blowing me away.
Dan does not look super stoked about that, to be honest with you. He looked at that pretty hard, and
we haven't talked a whole lot about Jesse Broadwater, but he's been quietly smooth and consistent here. And guess what?
Yes, he has. Jesse Broadwater on the bear with a 10,
and he now leads.
And Jesse Broadwater slow and steady wins the race, but this is not generally how Jesse Broadwater wins the race. So heading into our 5th and final arrow, we have Jesse Broadwater at a 502, Tim Gillingham with a 501, Dan McCarthy with a 499, Mikey Slosher with a 498, and Chris Perkins with a 496. So this is way, way, way far from being over, heading into our 6th and final arrow. All right, Darren, here we go. 6th and final arrow in an incredible shoot-off here. 6th and final arrow. Chris Perkins calling for the 14.
He's dropped his
They are
card.
shooting a 80-yard moose.
Here we go.
Chris Perkins calling for the 14. Here we go. I mean, what would it be if Chris was to nail that? So it looks like Chris went just a skosh high, but let's see what the final verdict is down there.
We still have $50 to our name.
All right, here we go. Chris Perkins for a 5.
Yep, he is.
I feel bad for
Which
Chris
kinda-
working so hard for 40
and he-
targets and then
and
just
he-
coming out here, and
he
I know
did.
something's going on. He's confused by where his arrows were landing.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know that's kind of that arrow there was probably is a little bit indicative of how his shoot down went, but it is a shame. He shot absolutely amazing.
Mikey Schlosser dropped something up there.
Oh yeah,
It was pink, had a 14 on it.
Mike Slosher calling the 14 on the 80-yard moose. I mean, really, what else you can? I mean, these guys could literally shoot themselves out of it by the time it gets to Jesse, and he could just have to hit a 10.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Mikey's really good.
So here we go, Mike Slosher, full draw. Little bit of some odd footing right there.
Ooh.
And that looks awful close. Let's see what Mike Slosher pulls out here. 14 here would definitely change the dynamic. 5 for Mike Slosher.
I thought he had it.
5 for Mike Slosher on the moose. This is changing the entire dynamic of all
No
of this.
doubt.
Jesse Broadwater's over there just
Oh, look at his chops right now. You guys keep
Yeah.
trying to win it, and I'm going to have to shoot a center 10.
Yeah, well, guess what? Danny McCarthy is pulling at his 14. Oh, Danny McCarthy throws down the 14 as well.
This is
oh,
awesome.
man. This has gotten so good.
So if he
Well,
fives it, he
whoever
goes
hits
to.
it, if someone hits it,
Yeah.
they're going to earn it.
If Danny hits the target, he's got third place wrapped up.
Yes.
So it makes sense.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that's going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to hit the target for sure.
Wow. How often have you ever seen a 14 at 80 yards to win it?
This is the first time for me.
Yep, absolutely. This is probably the first time for archery.
He's liable to smoke it too.
Here we go. Danny McCarthy going for 14 at the 80-yard moose.
Aim right side, Dan.
Just a little bit of wind down there. Can't really see the arrow. It's close, but
is close.
can't see with the bare eye here. Let's let everybody get over there. And Dan McCarthy with a 5. So Jesse Broadwater is sitting pretty heading into this. So
Now-
so we have Tim Gillingham who's trailing Jesse by 1. So what does Tim do?
I say Tim 12's it.
I
He's,
don't.
he's already 12'd it once.
Yep.
He's going to shoot it again. He's going to force Jesse to have to hit a ring.
I don't see Tim did not shoot a 14. Tim denies Chuck
He's going
Cooley
for the
on the
12.
14 with a smile. Here we go. The wind did pick up a little bit here. And for those of you watching, you can see that Tim Gillingham has a string on the end of his stabilizer there. That's not by accident. That's his windicator.
Yeah, he's a 5 to wrap up second and possibly. Well, he'll get second.
Oh,
if he
he's
hits
getting
the
blown
target.
around there a little bit. You can see he's going to have to drop the hammer on this for real, and he's put some Spanglish on it.
He did
So
get a
he
10, I believe.
it's going to be hard to tell.
We'll see
but
what the
he,
we'll see what the officials say.
Absolutely. Let's see what the arrow call is
He's
there.
got a 10
for Tim Gillingham.
5'11". So
So
now
5'11".
Jesse
Jesse needs a 10 to win.
He's got a 10 as big as a hubcap down there. It is a little windy.
Absolutely, but here we go. Jesse Broadwater with the opportunity. If you remember last year, he was in a battle like this with Chance
Chance,
Bobeff, who
yeah.
shot a long 14 to win it.
Right.
So Jesse Broadwater's been in this position lots of times. Jesse just needs a 10 to win right here. There is a pretty little stiff wind here.
Yeah.
Jesse is shooting small arrows.
Yeah.
So, for all intents and purposes, this should be a pretty decent shot for him. He has his good friend Shane Wells, of course, holding the
Jesse's
holding
going to
the
put
big
that
umbrella
pin
for
right
it.
above that 12 ring and make a great shot.
Yeah, he'll probably.
Boom.
There we go.
And Jesse Broadwater is your men's expert champion.
All right, we're here with the 2017 OPA Men's Expert Champion, Jesse Broadwater. You last year you had an incredible shoot-off with Chance Bobeff. He ended up hitting a 14 at a bomb to win it. This year you came in and shot incredibly consistent. The shoot-down was pretty interesting. Definitely wouldn't say that you were out there, pounding the rings. You were slow and steady. Coming down to the end there, kind of tell us what you thought when those guys were going for the 14s on that moose.
That's a long shot on that thing. A little bit of wind and stuff. It was kind of the same deal as last year. I think I was ahead of Chance by 1 or something last year, and then he busted out a 14 on a long target. So. But my whole game plan this whole weekend was just slow and steady and just, try not to do anything too crazy and just try to be consistent. And, I shot like all 10s in the shoot down there and, ended up with the win. So it's crazy. I'm incredibly happy. I've been looking for this one, for a long time. So I'm very happy, very happy.
All right, so let's talk about your year. We've talked about it a little bit. You couldn't wait for outdoor season to come soon enough. Outdoor season's here, and you pretty much have come right out gunning. So talk with us about the work you've put in this year with your new rigs, and you've been working to get more comfortable with them. Obviously, it showed, and so kind of talk us through what it means to get this victory, stepping into the outdoor season, moving forward.
Yeah, I've been putting in an incredible amount of work ever since, I switched to Matthews, and it's finally paying off. I feel like I'm finally being more consistent with them now. My scores are improving and everything, so it feels great when you actually put in the work and you come out with a win. You deserve it. And but yeah, I feel like that I'm finally catching on to the bows, and I think that it's only going to go up from here, hopefully. So. Looking forward to the rest of the outdoor season and and then going into the indoor season next year. But incredibly happy. Just an awesome weekend to get these guys put on a great event, and super happy.
All right, and so you probably got some folks watching at home, huh?
I don't know if anybody's watching. Hey, thanks for the support, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Gracie and Lisa and everybody.
Hopefully they're watching. Yeah, they're supposed to be at the beach, so have fun at the beach.
All right, buddy. Congratulations.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.